Today I will be addressing the term brown skinned. I don't use this term on my channel, not because I don't believe it exists, but it's because a lot of people use the term brown skinned in order to take people in and out of the light and dark skin category.
No, you don't use the term brown skin because when you use the term brown skinned, it basically takes you out of the light skin category. So you have to ignore that brown skin even exists so then you can still be light skin. That's what that is all about. That's why you only have one shade for brown skin and you don't actually have a range for brown skin complexions.
As they please. Everyone knows that Blackistan is one of the most gaslighting communities on earth. No, I'm not racist, I'm just speaking the truth. Blackness is still a part of me, and I have nothing against black people as a whole, but I will say that whenever a mixed or light skinned woman starts celebrating her phenotype, people start saying things like, she ain't even light skinned, she brown skinned. And people are saying that so much to the point where literally it's as if they're trying to erase light skinned women. They want to.
No, it's like you are erasing brown skinned women. Because who is brown skinned at this point? You basically are going with those other people trying to act like brown skin is dark skinned. But then, the people who actually are brown skinned, you're putting us in the same category as Mariah Carey. That doesn't make any freaking sense, in my opinion. How can Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, Halle Berry, or Beyonce be the same shade as Mariah Carey, Halsey, Rashida Jones? They're not nearly the same complexion at all. One has brown skin, the other has white skin. You have to understand, with light skinned people, you always compare the lightest version of the light skin, the darkest version of the brown skin. When you do that, and you compare them to someone like Nicki Minaj or Rihanna, we're gonna fit more with the brown skin, even if the brown skin is a little darker. So Angela Bassett would be the darkest of a brown skin. So would Jennifer Hudson. Those people would be the darkest complexions of brown skin. And as I show you, the skin tones almost match. The skin tones almost match between Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Halle Berry, and women like Jennifer Hudson and Angela Bassett. Also, you can also tell that the range is very interesting because brown skinned women, our skin very much has the same aspect of reactive towards lighting. So we look very different when it's no lighting really, or like more of a evening like lighting kind of like thing, like a nightlife lighting, as opposed to being outside. Being outside as opposed to being inside or being in a bright bathroom. Our lighting depends on our skin tone, basically, and our skin tone can look very bright and our skin tone can look very brown. And you can look at Jennifer Hudson and see she has both aspects. You can look at Nicki Minaj, she has the same aspects. You can't look at someone like, say, Tisha Campbell, and she won't have the same aspects as us. When she's in very bright lighting, she looks like she has white skin. We don't look like we have white skin no matter how bright the lighting is. We can look very light, but we can't look exactly like we have white skin. So there's a big difference between someone who's light skinned and someone who's brown skinned. You can make it look like we have light skin by making us have a lot more lighting in our area so we look light skinned, but that doesn't mean we actually are. In the house, we're still gonna look brown. When someone is light skinned and they're in the house, they don't look brown. They don't have brown skin. So no matter, like, most of the time, unless it's in a very, very dark environment or they're very tan, they're not going to look like they have brown skin. We do look like we have brown skin because we do. So, continue.
Pretend that light skin means white passing only. When we all know you can be yellow and be light skinned, you can have a red undertone and be light skinned, you can.
Light skin would not be just high yellow or white passing. White passing is like Mariah Carey, Halsey, and like Troyan Belisario. But there's light skin like Tisha Campbell. That's about average for light skin. And then the darker end of light skin would be like maybe a Cassie or like a Doja Cat. Those would be the darkest light skins, basically. So people darker than them, like I'd say, what's her name? Cardi B would be the darkest shade of light skin. Anything darker than Cardi B is brown skinned. So Rihanna would be brown skinned because she's darker than Cardi B. Nicki Minaj would be brown skinned. Halle Berry would be brown skinned. The lady that you have up here, Megan Good, would be brown skin. Megan Thee Stallion, brown skin. All those brown skin. And the reason why is because to be brown skinned, you have to have brown skin. And all these people I listed have brown skin. You would admit they have light hues of brown skin. That means they have brown skin. Just like dark brown is still a term of brown. It's still a color of brown. Light brown is still a brown color as well. And that's what most of the brown skin category is going to be a part of. Some people might say medium brown is brown skin. I don't personally. I think your natural complexion has to be a shade of light brown. That's brown skin, in my opinion. Continue.
Even have a caramel undertone and still be considered light skinned. Here's how to make an unambiguous person mad. If they tell you you're not light skinned, ask them, what color is light skinned? Don't let them name.
I know the color of light skin. The color of light skin is not brown skinned, basically. So you can't have brown skin and be light skinned. It would be an oxymoron. Quite obviously. We have the definition of brown skin.
A random celebrity and don't let them say, my brother's cousin's baby mama is light skinned. No, ask them, what color is light skinned? Is it a golden skin tone, butter pecan skin tone? Is it caramel? Is it high yellow? What color is light skinned?
No, butter pecan is a version of brown, so is caramel. So those would be brown complexions, brown skin. Light skin would be yellow. Continue, though.
And watch them go silent because they don't want to admit that they still uphold the paper bag test. A lot of black people still believe.
No, you uphold the paper bag test. Something's wrong. I don't get it. Do you know how dark a paper bag is? A paper bag is like the color of a 390 in Fenty. So that's not going to negate people who are light brown. Most light brown skinned women and men are going to be lighter than a paper bag. I personally am lighter than a paper bag. Halle Berry's lighter than a paper bag. Rihanna is lighter than a paper bag. Nicki Minaj is lighter than a paper bag. They're lighter than paper bags, but the one thing that's important in these situations is they all have brown skin. Okay? They all have brown skin, so then they're brown skinned because they have brown skin. They have light brown skin, but still it's brown. So then it's brown skin. Continue.
That if you are lighter than the paper bag, you are considered light skinned. So then, once you get them to admit that they still believe in the paper bag test, first of all, you can ask them why they believe in a racist.
No, you believe in a paper bag test. That's why you're saying those people are light skinned instead of brown skin. What other differentiation are you making from brown skin to light skin if it's not a paper bag? What is it? Or are you just going to admit that you're just ignoring brown skin because you don't want to be a part of it?
Test from the early 1900s when they are the ones constantly complaining about colorism. And then you can also ask them why they thirst over men like Will Smith, Michael B. Jordan, and August Alsina and call those guys light-skinned when they clearly can tan darker than a paper bag. Then you can say,
to me, I don't even think a paper bag is racist, by the way. A paper bag is just a paper bag. It's an inanimate object. Light-skinned people act like it's something And the dark skinned people act like it's something simply because they're either stuck lighter than it or stuck darker than it. I'm of the perspective of being naturally lighter than the paper bag while being able to get darker than the paper bag anytime I want. And so to me, from my mindset, it's like, what's the difference with being lighter than it and darker than it? There is no treatment difference. That's for sure. I don't see people throwing bananas at me and trying to kick me or attack me or take my money or say I can't live wherever I live because I'm darker than a paper bag. I don't see anyone giving me an extra prize when I'm lighter than the paper bag. I don't see extra money. I don't see any opportunities. So I don't see what's the difference with being lighter or darker than the paper bag. I don't see it as a racial thing. I see it as a fact more of a thing. Like either you're lighter or you're darker, but who gives a fuck, really? It doesn't really change anything. If your skin is brown, your skin is brown, therefore you're not light-skinned. As far as dark-skinned people preferring brown-skinned people, I think honestly with dark-skinned people, they do prefer brown-skinned people. You can see that often. Dark-skinned men will prefer brown-skinned people, brown-skinned women, over dark-skinned women. Why else do you think brown-skinned women generally dominate the media? Because they're actually preferred. And I honestly think we're preferred because we're the majority. If you think of it, a lot of black people are brown-skinned. Now, I always wonder, are brown-skinned the majority? Because I think most people identify as brown-skinned, but then I'm like, are most of those people dark-skins that want to identify as brown-skins or not? I don't know. I think most people are brown-skinned. So it kind of makes sense that most of us dominate the media and things of that nature. But, the black women who have made it big are generally brown-skinned. They're not the lightest hue. They're not light-skinned. That's how you know it's not like light skin is put above dark skin. But dark-skinned people will feel like brown skin is put above them and say that it's light skin being put above them. So, we're basically treated quite similarly to the idea of light skin being put above brown skin. Dark skin. That's how they have the whole idea of colorism and things of that nature. Most of the time they use brown-skinned people as an example to prove that dark-skinned people are being oppressed, basically. So that's why they will call brown-skinned people that they prefer light skin. It's basically them trying to give them a prize to say, oh, it's nice skin, basically, is what they're trying to say. Because these type of people who prefer their lighter hues and things of that nature, especially the black men who do this, they do this because they think that the lighter is better. And so when they think of brown skin, they associate it with its lighter hue compared to dark skin. That doesn't change that we still have brown skin. It's just that they're fetishizing our skin tone. So that's what that's about. Continue, though.
If Will Smith is light-skinned, why do you guys try to suddenly say that Doja Cat is not light-skinned when she is not only lighter than the paper bag, but she is lighter than both Will Smith and August Alsina?
Oh, they just hate on Doja Cat. That's because Doja Cat doesn't show enough preference towards dark-skinned black men, and that bothers both sides to this because they see it as, oh, you're light-skinned, because they know in their heart that she is light-skinned, and so they try and act like they don't want her to feel too good about herself, basically. They don't want her to feel better than them, so they'll try and call her brown-skinned, basically.
Anyone notice that the light skin standard gets way lighter when it comes to women?
On tape. Hold it one sec.
As opposed to men? I've had people on this channel say that Doja Cat is brown skinned and that Beyonce, Rihanna, and Lauren London look unambiguous. So unless unambiguous Africans naturally have green eyes, blonde hair, and high yellow skin tones.
Oh, yeah, of course people are gonna say that Rihanna, Lauren London, and Beyonce are unambiguous not dark skin, but brown skin black women. I've seen plenty of people who meet their phenotypes, and why the hell are you trying to act like blonde weave, honestly, on a person who's brown skinned is somehow a sign of being mixed when they naturally don't even have blonde hair. Beyonce doesn't have naturally blonde hair. She has brown hair. And her hair isn't that texture either, naturally. So, I mean, like, what are you doing here? None of those people look mixed to me. I would say Beyonce isn't mixed. She's just Creole and black. Well, most black Americans, we have Creole and black in our heritage. Rihanna, I guess you could say the green eyes look different to you. Other than that, no, she looks very Afrocentric, and her eyes aren't very light anyway. I've seen her when she was a kid, her eyes were hazel, so they weren't the lightest eyes, so you wouldn't even really recognize them that much. And then the other one, Lauren London, she looks like a black woman as well. I understand she's mixed, but she does look black. She is brown skinned. They all are brown skinned. But I would say that Doja Cat is not brown skinned. And there's a thing about Doja Cat. A lot of white people do not recognize that she is black. And then again, that's another thing that really bothers certain people. And this is a features issue because Doja Cat has white features on her face. So that's another reason why people have an issue, because they're like, basically when a light-skinned biracial prefers white, they have an issue with this because basically their kids are going to come out very white looking, and it's a sign of escapism. They see it as like their kids will end up looking more white, they can pass for white, they can identify as white, and then they see it like they have more of a connection to white people and their descendants not appearing to be white, not appearing to be black. So that's the issue that they have, basically, with Doja Cat. I don't, personally. I'm just like, okay, that's cool that she prefers men of the white race. I mean, that's her preference. I don't have an issue with it. Maybe because I relate, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there is some gaslighting going on there. Has anyone noticed that unambiguous women love telling us that we're not that light-skinned, or that we look unambiguous as a way to put us in our place? For example, when we say we're mixed, they'll be like, wow, I didn't even know you were mixed. Or, oh my God, you went out in the sun and you got dark. But if I were to look at Viola Davis and say, oh my God, she's so freaking dark, she's been out in the sun, people would call me a colorist for saying that. So which one is it?
I do understand your perspective in this. I do, honestly. But I kind of feel like it's a two-pronged issue. One, you can have people... Because when you're brown-skinned, you have a situation where people don't like that you live on both sides of the coin. And you don't like it either. This is why you particularly will attack brown-skinned women like Serena Williams for getting too dark, basically. See, you have the same problem. Yours is a little different because you're like, oh, I can be okay with some tanning because your skin can tan, but say another brown-skinned woman can tan a little bit more than you, or maybe she's been exposed to areas and doesn't give a fuck about it, especially if she's like Serena, she's an athlete. She was an athlete and things of that nature, so, she's going to be out more in the sun, and obviously she's going to tan, But because she got so dark, it bothered you to the point where you were trying to accuse her of bleaching and trying to attack her for her skin tone. Just the same as those other women, And you can consistently see this with brown-skinned women like you, because you constantly will go after brown-skinned women who have had a tan and call them dark-skinned. And then when they get lighter, you call them bleached. So, I mean, why are you talking about anybody else when you do this yourself? You literally attack the women that are in your color range, that are light brown, just like you. But because they tanned, you try to make fun of their tan, try and say they're bleaching, or try and say they're dark skinned and confused or something. So, I mean, like, to me, it's just kind of like you're trying to talk about them. I relate, but I'm just like, well, you need to look at yourself on this. Because in my personal perception on dark-skinned women who do it, I feel there's a two-pronged issue. One, there's people who are kind of like they have an issue, or they have an issue with your skin and they feel like they're getting one even with you when you tan, kind of thing. So they're happy that you tan because now you're their color. But there's other people who see it as more valued that you're darker. They see it as valued when you're lighter skinned. So when you get darker, they kind of see it as like you're throwing away a good thing in your skin tone. And so then they encourage you to get to the lighter hue rather than the darker end of your skin tone range when it comes to you tanning. That's not even out of a place of evil or mean or trying to hurt people or anything like that. That's just the brainwashing of them thinking lighter skin is better, basically, which is sad because these people are dark skinned anyway. So what do they really feel about themselves? And that's not good, But I don't really think they're actually trying to hate brown skinned people who tanned a little bit darker.
Either it's colorist to point out when someone gets darker, or it's okay to get darker regardless of what skin tone you are.
True, I would agree with that statement.
Same thing goes for when mixed women stay out of the sun. Unambiguous women will be like, "Oh my god, you look so pale. Did you bleach your skin? What happened? You almost look white." But if I were to see an unambiguous woman, I can't say, "Oh my gosh, wow, you got lighter. You're not that dark anymore." I would be called racist or skin tone obsessed. So, once again, only unambiguous dark-skinned black women get to decide who is what color. Has anyone noticed that it's mainly unambiguous dark-skinned black women who make those videos breaking down the whole skin tone spectrum, talking about who's light-skinned or not?
Honestly, I would say that it's not just dark-skinned black women, though. It's dark-skinned black men who will say the same thing. They both say it. And that's just because they have the carte blanche to do what they want, basically. When it comes to color and race, they can say basically anything they want. They can literally be racist towards you, if they want to. And even try and claim that you're racist towards them, even though they were the only one being racist. Because they have dark skin. So, I mean, I don't know, that is a thing that they do, but I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, some people do that, but not all of them anyway. And I wouldn't say it would be just the women. Why are you just going after dark-skinned black women? It's definitely dark-skinned black men who do it, and I think they do it more. Honestly, I think that people who are hurt because of their skin tone, the men always act out more, because men, when they're hurt, they usually act out more externally. Women hold it in a little bit more. So then you see more of the issues with dark-skinned black men than you do with dark-skinned women. Just saying. Continue.
These women are tracking our skin tones more than we are. It's like they have a skin tone tracker or a light skin tracker or something. They track when you get a tan. They track how light we are in comparison to the paper bag. Hundreds of years after the paper bag test was even created, they want to put you in your place by saying you're not light enough to claim being light skinned. These women are literally obsessed with skin tones more than anyone I know. They want to police how mixed a person is. They want to ask for pictures of your parents and grandparents. They're comparing your skin tone to their cousins, sisters, neighbors.
Why do you have to use a crazy person like Rashida Strober as a photo, though? Like, Rashida Strober is insane. Nobody is really listening to that lady. And there's plenty of crazy light-skinned and brown-skinned women as well. Are you using their images? So, I mean, like, come on now.
Baby mama to see who's lighter, but we're the colorists? It's the gaslighting for me. And also, I have never seen anyone defend skin lightening and bleaching like unambiguous women. Do you guys remember that whole Serena Williams thing where she took that Instagram pic and she looked like a lion and she was literally almost yellow looking?
See, exactly. See, you're willing to try and attack a brown-skinned woman who got too dark for you, basically. You go and say 1 second that it's wrong to attack someone for tanning and losing their tan, but then when it's someone who has tanned way too much in your opinion, then you get upset and try and act like she can't get that light. Like, there's a rule somewhere saying that you can't lose your tan enough if you get to a certain hue. You're too dark now, or something. When there's quite enough proof to show that Serena Williams literally is a tanned color at her chocolate complexion when she's chocolate, because you can see on her pits and in her tan line that she's not that dark. Continue.
Then Blackistan was like, it's called taking care of your skin. All you have to do is get microdermabrasion or use vitamin C serum and essential oils. She was just doing facials and using collagen. It's because she doesn't play sports anymore. She was staying out of the sun. That's why she got lighter. Okay, fine. Even if that is true, then why do you guys police women like Beyonce and Nicki Minaj and Halle Berry and Megan Good so much so, and you say, oh my god, she's a half a shade lighter, she's bleaching herself, she's self-hating, she wants to be...
Beyonce and Tyra Banks aren't really very different from what Serena Williams is, but the only difference between the two is one hangs more on the darker end of their shades when it comes to tanning, and the other one doesn't tan as much. So Serena Williams tans more because she's an athlete, while Beyonce stays a bit lighter because she stays out of the sun more. Same thing with Tyra Banks. So to me, I wouldn't say that these people... I think that these people focus more on, or they identify more with someone when they have a darker hue because they're dark-skinned women. So then someone like Tyra Banks, for them, they see her skin tone as further away from them. Serena is closer to them because she tans. So then she looks more like their color to them. So that's what's going on there. That's why they will take Serena's side more than someone who is exactly her color but just doesn't go out in the sun as much. Continue.
White, she's a colorist. Beyonce wears blonde wigs because she wants to look more white. She hates blackness. Okay, but Serena was wearing a blonde wig, and I didn't hear you say anything about that. Shut up! It's fashion. Black women can wear...
No, for brown-skinned women, many of the time, you could say for brown and light-skinned women, there is a lot of an encouragement to wear blonde hair and things of that nature. And to me, I don't know, I just kind of see it as like, I kind of think that I think, honestly, when it comes to blonde hair for lighter-skinned women, it is a sense of, trying to look more like a white woman because you can physically look more ambiguous with blonde hair, and you look lighter when you aren't dark-skinned with blonde hair. While someone who with dark skin, like Ducky, thought if she had blonde hair, nobody is thinking that she looks white. So to me, it's really weird why people would think, that someone dark skinned with blonde weave or wig would make them, or even natural hair for that matter, would make them look mixed or like a white person or anything. Everyone knows, that person knows as well that they're not looking anything but a black person. you know. And that's why I think lighter skinned people will sometimes get more heat. But light skinned people, I don't think, get heat for this. Brown skinned people get heat for this because we live on the edge, basically. And since we're not light skinned, we're kind of like seen as transferring over to looking more like a light skin when we wear blonde hair because it makes us look even lighter. Continue though.
Whatever hairstyles they want. We're just protecting our hair. Okay, so why can't mixed women protect their hair and wear whatever styles they want? Because you're appropriating black culture.
But Beyonce isn't mixed. Beyonce is Creole and black. Most black Americans, when we do our genetic communities, we're gonna get black and Creole. So, I mean, I don't understand why you would call her mixed. She's not mixed. She's just a combination of a light-skinned mother and a dark-skinned father. Most brown-skinned women and men are a combination of a light-skinned parent and a dark-skinned parent. Sometimes. Not all of us, but many of us are.
By wearing my hair texture and style. Okay, but aren't you appropriating my mixed race heritage by wearing my hair texture?
I don't think it's really mixed people's hair texture. I would think that's a white hair texture, but I would honestly think the blonde hair specific thing is a sense of white white fishing. I think because it's like this. If you're gonna say white women who blackfish are blackfishing, then yes, blonde hair would be white fishing for black women. And Asian women at that as well, especially Asian women, because black women can technically be, well, our hair isn't specifically black, it's usually brown. So technically there's more proximity to that than Asian, but either way, it would be white fishing because it's usually white people with blonde hair, not really mixed people. Continue.
These women view us as competition. They literally say it in their videos. And don't even get me started on how badly they gaslight the darker mixed women. If you happen to have a darker skin tone and you're...
I honestly think that light skinned people and brown skinned people see each other as competition, especially among the women. I don't know what the men do. I really don't. Do light skinned men see each other as competition and go after each other like that? Or brown skinned men? I don't know. But I do think that a lot of brown skinned and light skinned women tend to see each other as competition. And this is internal, like it's like between brown skinned women, and sometimes it's also between brown skinned and light skinned women, because we're kind of categorized together when it comes to black men who are dark skinned, and sometimes white men too. It depends. Sometimes white men will make a distinction, sometimes they won't, because sometimes they don't see light skinned women, the ones without brown skin, as light skinned. They might see like someone like Halsey as light skinned, and then everybody darker than that is not. So then they kind of put us all together, you know. So, when it comes to competition for men, we kind of have the same phenotype from a man's perspective, from white men's perspective, and dark skinned black men's perspective, you know. Continue though.
Mixed, you better not ever claim anything other than black, because if so, you're trying to escape your blackness and be better than black women. Literally, if you embrace your racial background, you're racist. So if you're darker skinned and mixed race, you better pretend like your mom's side of the family doesn't exist, otherwise you're racist. I better not hear you speak a lick of Spanish. I better not see you claiming your Asian side or your Indian.
Why'd you assume the mother was non-black though? That's weird. Continue.
Inside, and you better not say you're from the Caribbean or talk about your West Indian heritage, because if you do, you're racist. Have any of you ever been told you're too dark to be mixed? Have you ever noticed how everyone is trying to expand the brown skin category to either escape being dark skinned or to throw light skinned women into it so we can pretend like black people and mixed race people all have the exact same phenotype? It seems like unambiguous women are playing a proximity game. They want to have as close of a proximity.
I would say I agree with the whole thing of a lot of people trying to use brown skin as a sense of escapism to try and identify as brown instead of dark skin, like a Kelly Rowland, for example. To me, like, she's clearly dark skinned, but she tried to call herself brown skinned. And I've looked at her lighter photos. She's never light brown, in my opinion. She's still dark skinned. If we had to use a crayon to color her, we would still use a brown crayon, a regular brown crayon, not light brown crayon or color pencil. So to me, she's definitely dark skinned, but people like that will often try and call themselves brown skinned, even though they're not, you know. And that is a sense of escapism. And it's sad because it's like, why do you think that it's wrong to call yourself dark skinned? And you will find some people who act like calling a dark skinned woman is somehow wrong or is negative or attacking them. So that's why they call themselves brown skinned. And when they do that, it's really troublesome because real brown skinned women, where do we go if you are brown skinned and we're not brown skinned? And I remember Crystal Swirls talking about this honestly and trying to say, well, if there's brown skinned people who are dark skinned, really, like Kelly Rowland and stuff, where do people like her fit? Where do people like me fit? And it's annoying, because they definitely displace us. Because that's how people like us end up calling ourselves light skinned. But then we know full well we aren't the same color as Halsey or Faith Evans. So, continue.
To mixed and light skinned women as possible. And so that's why they pretend that we are darker than we actually are. That's why they pretend that we are blacker than we actually are. It's because they want proximity to our beauty, status, and social standing. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section and stay pretty, ladies.
From my perspective, I just think that I do agree with some parts of what you said. Like, I agree with the whole thing of brown skin being a scapegoat for certain dark-skinned women. And I do agree with the whole thing about bleaching with brown-skinned women and the accusation simply because our skin tone changes through the year. But what I don't agree with is the fact that you are literally a brown-skinned woman who will basically eat her own, and attack other brown skins simply because those brown skins might be 2 shades darker than you, or that those brown skins might tan darker than you can tan, and you think they tan too dark, like in Serena Williams' case, That's my issue. It's just like, this is what I'm talking about with brown-skinned women who go after their own, and they attack their own because they have this idea, one, that they want to get to light skin like you. And so they feel like they have to keep on putting several people under the dark skin category. And then when those brown-skinned women get closer to their skin tone, it makes them feel threatened and makes them feel like their proximity to darkness is closer than what they want it to be, because now you are closer in complexion to Serena Williams, and you are like, people are associating her with her darker tan hue. So then that makes you feel uncomfortable, So that's, I think, the issue. And I think, among brown skinned people, there's never really much peace between us because of the fact that some of us tan so deeply. And so there's a whole bunch of issues with people in our skin tone that have issues with other people's skin tone because they tanned or because they got lighter and so forth. We don't even understand ourselves even sometimes. And I think that's more so to do with the fact that these are the type of people who try to avoid the sun, like you, for example, who would try to stay their lightest complexion, while some people don't care. And some people live in deserts. Some people are athletes, and they don't care, so they tan their skin, and so then you have an issue. Many of the time, I don't think light skins have this issue because light skins have less range than we do. So then light skins who tan Well, other light skins are familiar with this, and it's not very different from their skin tone in the first place. And dark skins are usually used to their difference too. It's only brown skins that really shake things up, because we go from what people would want to argue is light skin like you, lighter than a paper bag in the winter, to brown skin in the fall and the spring, and then dark skin in the summer. But yeah, I think that in total, people like you need to try and embrace your brown skin and, not shame people for tanning, not shame people for a difference in skin tone, and, not see dark skin and brown skin as less than light skin. We're all equal as far as skin tone. And this was the last video I do on you, but I just wanted to respond to all 3 of your videos on brown skin and light skin and the differentiation, which you've been trying to ignore. So thanks for watching, like and subscribe, comment down below, and have a great day, guys. Bye!